We're going to try again. We are live, apparently. Let's see if I can see it this time. Well, that did seem to work. So I am on a live stream with nobody but me watching. But it seems that there's no way to be able to see that you're on a live stream unless you post it yourself. So you post the link yourself, which is bizarre, isn't it? Because you'd have thought that would just work. You'd have thought people would just be able to see that you're streaming live. But I'm on the OAG YouTube page and I can't see that it says that I'm live, even if I go under live. So how's anyone supposed to know when you're streaming live if you don't post it up? It's a bit weird, isn't it? I really don't know how that's supposed to work. Don't know if this is going to work. Don't know what's going to happen. You've just wasted 3 minutes watching this car sat on the bench with me doing absolutely nothing. So let's see if we can get started, shall we? Okay, so the Baja Buggy went out in the Orchard Raceway this season in the modern two-wheel drive. It is not a modern two-wheel drive. It is I think it's a vintage two-wheel drive. The reason it was running in the modern two-wheel drives is mostly because I didn't have enough modern two-wheel drives to run for, and I thought this particular one probably wasn't going to compete with some of the vintage ones. And I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to stick this in, and I'm going to run it as part of the modern fleet. So it didn't do particularly well. And if you haven't watched the video, go ahead and do so. But it finished in 4th place. And the reason it finished in 4th place is because it's got bouncy pogo shocks on it, because I don't think these shocks have got any oil in them, and we're going to find that out in a minute. And also all the electronics inside are all of a vintage year, shall we say. even down to the motor. So I think what I'm going to do on this particular live stream is I think I'm just going to stand here and chat to you guys while I strip it down and do the necessary, because I think it's quite a nice looking buggy. I actually quite like the look of it. I like the cab at the rear. Lots of people like cab rear buggies. I think this one, you know, it's a good looking buggy really. I'm not so keen on the wheels, but these were the wheels off the TT02B originally, and they were just knocking around, so I stuck them on here because I thought they kind of fit with all the crazy decals that are on this one. I went with the purple because I had a can of that knocking around that I needed to use it up really more than anything else, and I think it worked out all right. The decals were repro decals from MCI, and if I'm honest, they're all right. I mean, they're stuck on well, they're not coming off, but yeah, they are what they are really. And the body was a Team Blue Groove body, I think it was. That was actually quite nice, it's quite thick, quite good Lexan. So let's get these shocks off first and take a look at what's inside. So I'll get myself a trusty screwdriver from the back. Now this is going to be one of those live feeds where I'm going to try and keep talking, but it's very, very difficult to talk for like however long this takes. Could be an hour. Yeah, it's a long time to talk for, especially when you've had a long week at work, which I have had, and I'm feeling rather tired at this point of the month. Mini OAG and Mrs. OAG have gone out to a children's birthday party, and I have been tidying up down here in the studio, but also doing some domestic chores at the same time, changing light bulbs and the like. So I'm going to do these one at a time because I hate it when I get stuff all over the place. So I'm going to do one set of shocks at a time as we go, and we shall see. So when I put these on, I mean, they're pretty big threaded screws that go on here, and originally there would have been self tappers, I would imagine, that gone into those. There's that shock, look. See that? And they got some really stiff springs on, absolutely. I mean, it might even be worth changing those springs because they are really stiff. So let's crack this out. Let's move the buggy out of the way for a second. Okay, I'll spill my drink. And let's make a mess, shall we? Let's get this down. Let's start taking this apart. Now, there's no guarantee, of course, that I don't take this apart and can't get it back together again, which is always a worry when you are faffing about. Okay, we got almost got the colour off. Spring off. Those springs are so hard. Might see if I've got. And these have got adjustable collars on, which is nice. So let's open this up and see what's inside, shall we? Ooh. Interesting. There we go. Ha! No oil whatsoever. See? Now I think the oil is all poured out of that at some point. It's had oil in, but there's definitely not oil in there anymore, is there? So, let's get a bit of tissue. Yeah. And let's just tip this upside down and let anything that is in there run out. There we go, there is something in there. Or there was something in there, should I say. Screws going everywhere, pop those up there for a second. Just let all that oil run out onto there. Now in the meantime, I'm just going to grab stool for me to perch on while I'm waiting. I'm also going to have just a little look through the toolkit here. Let's see what other shocks I've got cooking about. So I do have there a set of CVAs, like standard TTO2 type CVAs. I'm just wondering really whether eye to eye they sit at the same sort of length. Because if they do, they're probably a little bit longer actually. And the rear ones, I mean the rear ones on these ones are massive, aren't they? Just looking how they would sit. No, they're definitely a lot shorter at the back. Well, that's answered that question, hasn't it? I was wondering if I could use those, but clearly not. I cannot. CVAs all over the wazoo in here. There's another set there, look. Another set of, they came off the DF. I think the DF03 they came off of. All sets of CVAs, and I know what to do with. I've got, loads of springs as well, but again, those are DF03 springs. They're the same ones I think they're on the TTO2. Believe it or not, I've actually got a whole brand new set of CVAs in there as well. I don't know why I've ended up with so many CVAs. I think like everything in RC, you buy one thing and then you just end up accumulating so much more over time. So yeah, I've got a fair few CVAs. I've also got a fair few pogo sticks as well. But what I don't have anywhere, it seems, are the original shocks that I used when I pulled this one apart, which is a little bit annoying because on those original shocks would have been the springs for this RC. And I don't have those. So we're either going to have to use these here, or I'm going to have to see what I've got in this box. Now when I say that, it's because in here, somehow, I've ended up with absolute boatloads of springs from other kits that I've dismantled over the time. So here's one of the blue friction shocks that was on the Tamiya Rising Fighter, I think these are from. So I'm just going to look. They might work. They're a softer spring, a lot softer. They are really hard, those springs. I just wonder whether, I suppose the thing is, a softer spring is going to make them bouncier, isn't it, than these big sort of beefy boys over here. Well, do you know what? I'm going to leave that out, and we're going to build, because I've got two shocks to do on the front. I could do one way and one the other. See what happens. That's what I'll do. That's what I'll do. So I've actually got 4 of those springs. So if it does look better, that might be the way to go, maybe. Right, have we drained enough oil out of here? Let's just move the piston all the way down and just give that a little bit longer. Probably cleared enough off of that diaphragm there. It's annoying, isn't it, when you put some shocks on and then find out that they didn't have everything that you needed inside them, but so is life. Okay, I don't think we get anything else out of that. Let's pop this back over here, pop the spring, the shock body into there, and we'll just go with, I mean, I've got bottles and bottles and bottles of Tamiya soft oil over here, so we'll start off with that as a first pass and see what that looks like with some soft oil in. Fill it up to the top. How many of these have we rebuilt and done over the years, eh? Loads of them. Up and down a little bit, let's see if there's any air bubbles in there. There's a couple. I do like building shocks, but I always worry that I'm not doing it properly. Dirk at RC Birds did a great video where he had this little tool and you put the shock into the little tool and it creates like a little vacuum and it sucks all the air bubbles out the oil, which is pretty cool. And I had one in a basket a while back and I just never took the punt to get it in the end. So let's just pop the cap back on there. There we go. And let's see how this one now fares. Wowie, that's a lot more difficult to get that cap on this time than it was last time. We've got some shock movement, which is great. What I'm a bit frustrated about is the thread at the bottom. Down this bit here, I seem to have got that stuck at the bottom. I don't want it at the bottom, I want it at the top. If I try and unscrew it, seems the rest of the shock's unscrewing, which is a little bit annoying. How have I managed to do that? Make sure I don't do that next time. This is where all the various tools come in handy, because somewhere in the toolkit there'll be something to support and help with this particular dilemma that I'm having. He says confidently. This is why I don't like doing things on camera, doing things live, because things go wrong and you don't quite know how to fix them. And you start panicking and everyone sees all the cracks in the armour. And the reality is you don't actually know what you're doing. But when you're doing it all live, it all suddenly comes to bite. That it keeps unscrewing this bottom piece. I think if I unscrew that, all the oil's going to pour out. Do you reckon? Yeah. Bad idea that, Craig. Don't do that. I don't want that set on the lowest setting. Minor problemo. Right. Somehow that has managed to ditch itself all the way on the lowest setting, and I cannot for the life of me move it. So we're going to dump the oil and we're going to start again. Nothing like a little bit of live television, is there? We'll try and work out exactly why that has suddenly stuck, the collar stuck at the bottom of that shock. So these shocks are from OAG RC, and they're a UK based company, sells all sorts of RC spares, really good. I use them quite a bit, to be honest. I do like their shocks. However, if I'm honest, I don't really have a lot of success with them, because I have these types of problems that come up where the shock's so differently made to, there we go, we got it loosed. There we go. See that there? You probably can't see it. There's a little bit of dirt in the thread. That's what caused the problem. Right, start again, Maestro. Start again. We've wasted plenty of oil. That's all right, we've got loads of it. And the good news is once I put that shock together, it actually looked all right. It looked like it was working, which is great. Bang a bit of that. No bubbles. Good, good, good. That on the top. It's interesting to me that the cap of that and the body is all kind of one thing. I don't know how I feel about that. Tight enough there as I can, and that goes all the way to the top, and then we'll have a little clean up. There's quite a lot of oil that's suddenly dropped all over that, and what I've noticed in the past is if you don't clean the oil off your shocks, the dirt sticks to it like no fashion. Right, how's that looking? What crikey bananas that is. That's definitely a shock. So I still think that's pretty hard, that shock. Alright, let's go with this softer spring first. See what that looks like. It's definitely working as a shock. Now if I take the other one off, the other front one off, we'll just take a look at the two side by side. It'll show us how much putting that oil in has changed on the two shocks compared to each other. Well, and I've swapped that spring over as well, I suppose. It's always a lovely way to spend a Sunday afternoon, this, for me. Getting out into the studio and just having a bit of time on the bench. Helps relax the mind after a long week at work. So I've been travelling away for work quite a bit the last couple of weeks, which a bit frustrating at the end of the summer holidays for mini OAG not to be around to enjoy all of the final bits of the summer, and the girls did get up to quite a bit of fun, lucky for them, while I was away working hard. But now I am, well, I'm still away again next week and the week after, and the week after that, which is a real shame. So that's definitely softer than this one. But if I'm honest, if I'm really, really honest, those shocks are really, and that rebound, see how quick they are to rebound. I'm not sure that is any better. That's left me feeling a little bit like I don't know what to do next, if I'm honest. Because that's not how the Tamiya oilfield shocks work and the CVAs. They tend to have, I mean, look, that's now, there's just nothing in there. There's no oil in there at all. It's just loose. So what I've done is I've created a definitely an oil-filled shock, but it's just so stiff. I'm just really worried that's still going to go on the front of this car. What do I want to do? I want to put one of these springs, one of these shocks back on. I'll put this one back on the buggy, and let's just see how that front arm is now rebounding with this on. Because if it's still like way too bouncy, I'm gonna have to go plan B here. And plan B actually might be all those CVA shocks that I've got. It might be that I'll whack the fronts and the fronts on the fronts and the fronts on the rears, if that makes sense, because that is an option here. We could just go for double CVAs, and that might crack the problem. Just realised I can't remember if I was on the inner or the outer position for the shock. anyone actually happens to join me for this live feed, then maybe someone can answer that question. Maybe afterwards. Right, how do we feel about that compared to that? Does feel smoother, you know. Swap the other one on the front, and then we can have a proper look at it. So let's build this one up exactly the same as we did the last one. Give us a bit of space to work with at the top. Try and unscrew the top of this, he says through gritted teeth as he applies a bit of pressure. Absolutely. Crikey, that is on there pretty tight. Got the old shop pliers on that and just loosen that top up a little bit. That worked well. You know, I might just slightly scratch the top of the shock, but again, zero oil in there, so we'll just bleed that out. I'm gonna slurp a drink, all this talking. So, what have you all been doing in our SeaWorld this week? Has anyone been doing something fun? Lots of speed runs going on at the minute. CW01 Creations speed runs finished. That was on the old DT02, and the Poor Boys speed run on the MF01 XYZ chassis is still getting going. I keep wanting to get out and do some speed runs, but I'm so busy at the minute, and ultimately, to me, the Orchard Raceway is where it's at for me. I have to get out and do the Orchard. So at the minute, that is my main focus, is getting all of that finished. And I have finished all the filming on the Orchard Raceway. It's all done. I know who wins. I am the only person, well, the only person who cares, who knows what happens. Mini OAG has been told who's won. She was just disappointed that it wasn't Derek. And she said, "Why didn't Derek win?" And I said, "Well, that's because I'm rubbish at driving, Derek, and I need to do a bit more practicing. Plus, Derek's rear tyres are shot to Billio because Mini OAG basically just did loads of donuts for ages and wrecked the rear tyres, which didn't help. But Jess has very kindly sent Mini OAG a new pair of rear tyres, and they will be going on to the holiday buggy, onto Derek, ready for next year. At some point when I get 5 minutes to do, oh no, done this exactly the same bloody thing again. What a wally. Oh, bugger. How on earth did I do that? What a... Almost said a naughty word then. For all those watching with younglings, sorry about that. Why did I not think that through then? Why did I not check? I said a minute ago, make sure you don't do the same thing again. And what did I go and do? The same thing again. What a wally. The thing is, it all gets really slippy and then you can't do anything with it. These shocks are doing my nut. There's no oil, so it's just not shifting, guys. Something is not working today with these shocks. Deep breath. Deep breath. The hobby's supposed to be relaxing. You're supposed to be enjoying yourself, Craig, not getting stressed out over shocks. Yeah, I know, but I'm not getting stressed out about shocks. I'm getting stressed out about me and my silly decisions. Not to check that collar. Yeah, there's very little movement in these shocks, actually, when you sort of think about it. Very little movement in them. Get the bubbles out. This is one slippery customer now after all that oil's gone all over the place twice. Right. That is done. Now, on this one, so I put the old spring back on again. Then we can see the difference between the two springs. Not a bad idea, that, Craig. You know, full of good ideas, my friend. Full of it. Crikey. There's not a lot of dampening going on there. That is like a bullet. Absolutely. So strong. Right. Not so sure about this. Right, so should we have a bit of a clean up, because clearly this is probably one of the messiest shock builds I've done in a while, because I've literally just poured oil out all over the desk, albeit onto a lovely bit of tissue paper, but it's just seeped straight through, and it's now all over the mat, which is, actually, I didn't do a bad job there. Didn't do a bad job. Get rid of that into the trusty rubbish, and then let's bring the Baja Champ back over, and then let's just screw this bad boy back into the front, and then we'll see what's happened, see what we've done. So, I've been going for half an hour and we've not had a single person watch. Always disappointing, but I know everyone is busy on a Sunday afternoon doing family stuff and whatnot and doing all their little chores. Maybe this wasn't such a good time for a live stream after all. But it's kept me out of trouble at home, which is the most important thing. Get out and have a little bit of downtime in the studio. Bit of time for yourself, Mr. OAG. I'm going to actually go this side. I'm going to go in the middle and just take a look at the different alignments and then decide which one we want. Front, well, It's inner or outer, really, isn't it? If it goes in the inner, my understanding is you get a longer or a higher stance. So that's probably where I want it actually, not on the outside. Right, let's have a look. Definitely a lower stance this side than this one. So that's just what we want. Is you want height on the buggy, on the Orchard. Definitely don't want it low, as we saw with the XV01 the other day. So I was disappointed. While I'm doing this, let's talk about rally cars, because I'm so disappointed with the XV01 this year. I reintroduced that. I brought it back because I wanted it to have another go. It is, well, I did that slalom challenge with it where I absolutely smashed Yoda Darkside with him saying about how his Porsche was going to be better than the XV01 and the old school's the best and all that. And I know it was all for a bit of fun, but goodness me, that XV01 don't have to drive nicely. I was really, really, really pleased with how that went. I was like, oh yeah, definitely, it's the right call to put these back out on the Orchard Raceway. But it just struggled, man. It just really, really struggled. Right, are we still bouncing? Here's the rear. Here's the front. I would say that's better. What I don't know is which side's better. There's a lot more, if I'm honest, there's a lot more suspension travel this side than this side. This side feels so hard. This one's got a lot more movement in it. But the dampening, I think, is definitely slightly better, definitely improved. What am I going to do? I'm going to whip that one back off and put that other softer spring on, I think. That's what I want to do. Yeah, so the rally cars. The TT02 was an absolute disaster because the drive shaft popped out at the front. And that was the TT02 Type S or TT02S or whatever it is it's called, the S chassis, which lots of people say is a racing chassis designed to be on the road. A lot more variability in it. But my buddy Mark Bryan had turned one of those into a rally car, told me what he did. I didn't follow all his instructions because I tried to cut some corners, and I wish I hadn't. Mark's the master, he knows what he's talking about. And don't listen to anything that the OAG says is the lesson that I learned there. But the reason that I did that chassis is because I wanted to have a TT02 rally spec, and that's what I did. And I'm pleased that I did that project because, the body shell looks amazing. That Subaru Impreza has come out really, really nice. But the chassis, I am not impressed with one jot. So what I've got to do is have a little play around, which I have already done, if I'm honest, because where are we now? It's September, so we're a couple of months on from when I actually filmed that run. I have made some adjustments to the buggy. Uh-oh. Can anyone see a blue shock? 1, 2. I definitely had 4 of them a minute ago, and now I've only got 3. Where did I put the other one? There it is. 4. Hiding away. Cheeky little monkey. Yeah, where was I? Yes, TT02S. I have repaired and fixed the issue with the dog bones popping out. And the way I resolved that issue was I put in it's not a one-way, it's a fixed drive in the front, fixed diff. So the front is just one big pull along. And I also so that actually made it so the dog bones didn't pop out. And then I also put universal drive shafts in the front, which has helped as well. So we shouldn't have anywhere near the same types of problems when that runs again. But I'm not sure that the rally cars were meant for Orchard Raceway running like the buggies are. So I've got to come up with a new idea for the buggies. So if you're watching this, and because there's no one in the live feed, so if you're watching this on repeat and you've got some good ideas of what I can do with the rally cars to make for entertaining viewing for you all on YouTube, and also entertainment for me when I'm recording all these and keeping track of it all, pop a comment below and tell me what you think I should do with the rally cars, because I've got the TT02B, sorry, TT02S. I've got the XV01. I have recently got my MF01X that I've done for the speedrun challenge, but I've got the Beetle body for that will eventually become the rally body that goes on for it when it's out rallying around the OR or the OAG garden, whatever I choose to do with them. Ooh. It's definitely got more movement than when I had those harder shocks on. Absolutely. So that was the right thing. I think that was the right thing to do. But now I'm wondering whether I should have left the hard shocks on. I don't want to change it again. Thing is, I need it to be able to have some travel, because the Orchard Raceway is so bumpy, these things have to be free to flow about. And I think if I make them too hard at the front, it's just going to be too stiff. Do you reckon? Don't know. Not sure. But I can always swap them back out again. So, you know, let's keep that in mind. Right, rears. Look at the state of that. Ah. So the rally cars will be back. They will be back for another go, because I do like them. I really like them. So MF01X, and I've also got the MO5 that I turned into a little a little rally mini, and I love the way that thing absolutely drives. It is beautiful. It's really nippy, and because it's a front wheel drive car, it handles differently to some of the others as well. Just really enjoy it. It's just a nice little car. I can see why the Mini MO1 chassis, I think that the MO3 as well, the little minis, I can see why they're so popular now. See why people want them, because actually it's super fun. In fact, because I'm just cleared the bench, there is that little mini. Yeah, and I had to bodge the wheel arches on this body because it just didn't work out for it. And that's got pogo sticks on. Or has it got CVAs? No, there's still CVAs in there. But that thing drives. It drives so well. Now it's on that shorter wheelbase. You can chuck it about. It is super cool. And I have some nice oil-filled chocks to go on there as well. I've got those blue ones that go on the MO5 chassis. And I think I had another little hop up. The only thing that's really annoyed me for this is the little decals at the back have all come loose. They need gluing. And it's just another faffy job, you know, when you've got so many RC jobs to do anyway. It's just another little faffy one when they don't work out. I was really pleased the way that roof came out and the bonnet stripes. And then I went and bodged all the holes and didn't get the body sat right, and I had to cut all the body away. I had to make a bit of a mess of it, really. But end of the day, it's a little rally car. It's going to get in a mess, isn't it, out on the Orchard Raceway when I'm sliding it about, smashing it in trees and stuff. Right, another shock to do. So that's rally cars. We had the XV01, didn't it, and the TT02 Type S. They both went around the track and did their thing. Well, one of them went around the track. The other one spectacularly did half a lap and then just decided to give up on itself. And then before that, in the video that you guys saw the other day, we had the DF03, Murphy, as I call him. Now, I really like that buggy. I really like that buggy, and I really want to do that buggy justice. And I want to make it better on the Orchard Raceway somehow. Not yet worked out how I'm going to do that, but I do want to get it going around the Orchard Raceway better. Well, I can see why I've been having problems with the shock shaft on this ending up at all the sorry, not the shock shaft, the collar ending up at the bottom, because it's happening again here. And I think it has to go all the way down the bottom for me to be able to loosen the top, because I need the grip to be able to turn the top, and then that's why that's getting stuck, because it's happened exactly the same again here, which is blooming annoying. Where was I? I was saying to you guys about the DF03, wasn't I? So the DF03 is wicked. Love it. And I certainly love the way mine looks, because we put those, or I put those translucent body parts on, and I sprayed it with that translucent PES paint. I can't remember which one it was now, but all looks really nice. And I'm really pleased with how it drives as well. It drives really nicely. So it's a good little RC. The problem, yes, I know I should have soft pliers. I don't have soft pliers. Another thing that is on the list and I keep forgetting to buy, because I always get distracted by hop-up parts and the like. Yeah, the DF03. Problem with the DF03, well, the problem I found with the DF03 is, problem I found with the DF03 is that the tyres on it don't grip onto the grass. They don't grip at all. They slip and they slide absolutely everywhere. And when I posted up the I think it was one of the videos of me building the DBO one, I think it was, Keith over at RC Icons said to me, dude, you don't want to use those tyres, man. They are not going to be good for your track. You need some grippers. And I was like, I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, buddy, Keith, you are right, man. They are bad news. Those tyres are meant for, I don't know, it must be Astro or something like that, or carpet, because the thing slips and slides everywhere. Problem is, those wheels are slightly bigger than the ones that are on here, which is why I put them on, because you get more ground clearance with those DFO 3 wheels than you do with the normal Tamiya ones. But of course, what am I looking for? Looking for this. What I've now found, though, now my next problem is, where do I get spiked tyres that fit onto the DFO 3 wheels? That's what I need now. So again, in the comments below, got any good ideas of where I can get tyres that are going to fit on my DF03 and my TT02B, which we'll come on to in a minute. Please let me know, because they could do with a bit more grip. And there's another car that's got those tyres on, and with not spoiling anything, might also be good for me to have some for that as well. Now, I did have some really nice buggy tyres that I bought from Ballistic Tyres, I think it was. Someone recommended it to me, and I can't remember who it was. Someone said, listen, get yourself over to Ballistic Tyres and get some of those. So, if I'm given a decent recommendation, I follow instructions. Got myself over Ballistic Tyres. I bought myself a set of tyres, and they're really nice. I've not put them on anything yet. They look awesome. So I went back to buy myself some more Ballistic tyres, and the website is down. And I think it says they've been bought by somebody else. But yeah, can't buy my tyres if they're closed, which is a bit annoying. So at the minute, I'm looking out for some new tyres. Now, Schumachers are kind of like my gold standard, because the Schumacher tyres are superb. but I just don't know which ones I get to put on those bigger wheels. So comments below if you know where I should shop for my tyres. UK only, please. Right, let's put these back on. You can't see what I'm doing, so I'm doing this all a bit cock-handed. So it's a good time to carry on talking to you about the DF03. So the DF03, I've got a lot of metal on mine, which is why I nicknamed it Murphy after RoboCop. But I think that is slowing it down. A couple of people put in the comments that they agree with me. They think there's just way too much alloy on that DF03. The fact that that's rocking a standard silver can, and it's only 1/10 slower than the TT02B, there's every chance that if I was to make that a fair fight, that we'd have the same sort of scores coming through. So I'm going to have a little play around with that and get the alloy off of the DF03, which is going to be a real finicky sesh, because they're all on with those dreaded like CE clip things, and they just do my head in. So I will be doing that at some point. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. So one oil shock in one side. Yep, definitely working. I put those beefier springs back on. I don't know why. Just did. Maybe I felt the rear, because I felt the front almost felt. I don't know. Still not 100% satisfied with the damping. I thought I'd put the beefier ones back on the rear, and then we'll see what they feel like. And then maybe we just go back to beefy all round. Yeah, so DF03 will be back again for another season. And rightly so, because it's such a nice buggy to drive, really consistent. The lap times on that were really, really consistent. I thought what I'd do maybe a bit later on in the year, probably before the finale that I run of the Orchard Raceway, because the finale is going to go over several weeks, because it's kind of like a shootout, and we lose a car each week basically until we're down to just 2, and then we see who is victorious. It's like an old school battle shootout, and then the winner faces off against the DB01, the Durga. And all of the finalists have got their own little theme songs, because I've generated them all in AI. Just for a bit of fun, really. That Lancia Delta one was like the best though. That thing, it created that song. The AI was just like, I used a combination of ChatGPT and me editing some of the lyrics to come up with the song lyrics. And then I just dumped that into one of these AI generators. And look, if you're a recording artist and you're a musician out there, I know the threat. I understand it, right? I absolutely understand it. But for amateur content creators like myself, it's kind of good fun. And it's just fun to mess about with it. I'm no longer a musician. I used to fancy myself as a bit of a musician, but I'm no longer a musician. I just don't have the time. So being able to prat about like that and generate a bit of unique content, I mean, some of it is absolutely pap. And you just go, huh, there's no way I'm using that. But other bits that you do is really good fun. So I did enjoy myself playing around with that, and I was so impressed with the Lancia Delta one, which, you know, I can't help it, I just end up sort of walking around the house singing that. I won't give you a rendition now, of course, but I got to the point where I thought I'll just do one for all of the Orchard Raceway season winners. So wait till you hear the one for the Cougar. That one is brilliant. I love that. Right, let's get rid of all the oil out of here. Yeah, so the DF03 didn't make it, though, did it, unfortunately? It's a shame, really, because I like that buggy. But we are on to, what was I say? I was going to do a wrap-up video, wasn't I? Do a wrap-up video so you guys can see it all. And then, of course, we've got the champ. The TT02B, for another year, makes it through to the Orchard Raceway finale. And I didn't think I was going to get it. I thought we were going to end up in a shootout. When I'm recording it, I have no idea how the cars have done when I'm recording it. I don't look at any of the times until I get back in after the recording session. So I get up and I just drive them and just drive them as best I can. And then when I get back into the studio afterwards to take a look at the times, and I got back and I didn't feel, no way on that day did I feel that the TT02B had driven better than the DF03. So I was coming in like, I can't believe it, what turn up. That's a great story. That's gonna, makes for good footage, and I can do a nice little wrap up about it. And then, of course, at the times I went, oh, brilliant. Because I actually wanted the DF03 to go through. I didn't want the TT02B to go through because I wanted an excuse to be able to do some hop ups on the DFO, the DB. Oh, too many acronyms. The TT02B. I wanted an excuse to do some hop ups on it. So I didn't want it to win. I didn't want it to get through to the finale. But so be it. It's made it. So we're going to have to just roll with it. But when I then look back at the footage, I was super impressed about how that did, because you can just see it does drive really well, and no spoilers, no surprises either. It drives well in the finale too, because it's just a good car, and it got me thinking as I was sort of recording that video. When people say to me, "Oh, I'd really like to get into RC cars," what shall I get for little Johnny or little Mary because they want to start doing RC? What shall I get them? And I always say, get them TT02B. Get them a buggy so they can drive it anywhere. Yeah, they can drive that on the tarmac. They can drive that on the gravel. They can drive that on the dirt. Yeah, go and get them a TT02B. And if they're not so little Mary or little Johnny, they're sort of like teenager Mary or teenager Johnny, they can build it up themselves. They can follow the instructions. If they built Lego, or they built, I was going to say Meccano, then that's how old I am. If they built something like Lego before, they'll be able to build an RC car. It's not hard. It just requires a bit of thinking. Follow the instructions. Oh dear. You see that? Now that's those big beefy shocks on the back of there again, and it's doing the same bloody thing. Do you see? And at the front, I do feel it's made a difference. So I'm just going to take those back off, and I've got some more on here I'm going to whack on. And let's just see if that makes a difference, because that is not right, is it? That's not the way it's supposed to go. Can't remember how these come off. Bit of a problem. Dismantle job, I reckon. Huh. Why doesn't that just unscrew? Because it spins around in there, that's why. Tell you what, today, it's just everything's meant to try me, isn't it? Everything is just having a go today. It's like, yeah, life's not easy today, Craig. No, life is not easy in any way, shape or form. We're not going to help you do anything you want to do today. Everything's just going to be a right pain in the backside. This is the side of the OAG that you don't see, isn't it? Because I edit all this out when I'm having a bloody whinge and a moan, and I'm just chatting to myself and having a good old why me session. Yeah, I edit all that out and just delete it all so you don't see any of it. Because who wants to watch an old man whinging about stuff? Yeah. But done, sorted. Who wants friction shocks anyway? There's one. Well, that's not true. If your buggy's got friction shocks on, you're happy with it, then, you know, by all means, just enjoy your RC. But friction shocks are... They're a way of making a kit real quick, is a friction shock. But they are definitely not good if you want to enjoy your driving experience. Ask Glenn over at Riviera RC about his speedrun car. I did find it highly amusing when he was on his hopper after his pogo stick adventure. Right, we've got those out of there. Right, where was I? I was telling you guys about the TT02B, wasn't I? So I always recommend the TT02B for people. It is my... Well, it's one of my favourite buggies. That was the second RC that I built. No, third. The DTO3, the Neo Fighter, I think it was. The Neo Fighter? Or was it the Neo Scorcher? Neo Fighter, I think it was. The that pink one that I've got, which is also in the finale. A runner-up on the Orchard Raceway a couple of seasons ago, 2022. It was the Orchard Raceway runner-up. Back in the finale for another year. So that's both the TT02B and the DT03, both in their second finale. That was the other reason why I didn't want the TT02B getting in there, because it would have been really nice, really unique to have had that DT03 in there on its own, because lots of people, also, I've met, certainly spoke to people and met people that sort of diss on that car quite a bit because it's cheap. And it is cheap, you know, you can pick those up for peanuts. The DT03. Yeah, they do feel better. You can pick those up for like €80 or 80 pounds. I don't know how much they are in the States, but you can get a good deal on that car. And it's a lot of car for the money. You get CVAs in there, you get torque motor in there. You don't get bearings, but you know, you can pick your bearings up for about a tenner. Great place to start. And again, great fun. Although those super gripper tyres do blast out pretty quick if you're racing around on the tarmac or the gravel. Then that's the other thing. If you're into your RC for the first time, it can be quite frustrating when you've driven it for about a week and you've been out a couple of times and you're going in, you're like, man alive, I've ripped all those tyres to shreds. You know, there's no spikes left on them because you've been ramming it around the driveway. And that's what we used to do as kids. I still have the tyre wall on the Orchard Raceway. Actually, is made up of tyres off my first RC cars, which is another nice little nod to the past. I always laugh when I get those out because I mean they're absolutely bold. Because we just drove. And yeah, we drove them in the garden. We never put any new tyres on those cars. We drove them in the garden and we drove them out on the road in the front of our house. And our road in the front of our house was not smooth asphalt. It was, you know, the road from the 80s where they'd literally just chucked down a load of rocks onto tarmac, and that was what you played about on. You fell off your bike and you grazed all your knees up. But it was not kind for RC tyres either, and we just ripped those tyres to pieces. And all of them were bold. Absolutely toast. So it was good to give that Grasshopper certainly a new set of Hornet tyres in the back, so it was running differently. God, those springs are so hard. So hard. There we go. I mean, there was me optimistically hopeful that I would get a couple of bits and bobs in today for you guys, but basically all we've done for an hour is change the shocks on this car. But we have had a good chat. I feel that I've, you know, given you all plenty of things to give me comments about if you're watching this video on the replay, which I'm sure, well, I know all of you will be if anyone watches it now, because nobody joined me live again. But you know what? I'm not bothered about it. It is what it is. I've enjoyed myself. I've enjoyed chatting away to myself down here in the studio, and that's part of it's practice, really. It's practice for talking on camera, because it's not easy. It's not easy to talk for an hour while you're wrenching on the bench, and it keeps you going as well when you're thinking that you're talking on the camera for future people to maybe watch. It does keep you conversation going, right? And it's definitely better than it was. It's not as bad. I'm inclined to say it's not good either, though. What do you think? I mean, the back just feels so loose still, so bouncy. Should I put a heavier weight of oil in the back? Would that have helped if I'd have had like a harder oil back there? Would that have stopped the bounce? I have got shock collars that I can try and adjust back here. So maybe we just wind those down, perhaps. Let's go halfway, see what difference that makes. This is where all you purist RCers are going, ha! He doesn't know what he's doing. No, I don't. Never, ever once claimed that I did know what I was doing. That is not good, is it? If anything, that's made it worse, I think. Move those back up again. So, what shall I do with this next? Do I sack off these shocks, and do I just go with the CVAs? That's an option. Yeah. Do I go with some of the other CVAs that I got? The front's not too bad, look, but the back is just... I mean, that's not as bouncy as it was. Absolutely looks better, but it's not as good as some of the other buggies, is it, really? What have I got for comparison? I suppose the comparison really is this, which just doesn't bounce. See? Whereas this one, front, back. That's the problem, is the back. It's that bounce at the back that is my issue. Right. That's me, I think. 68 minutes of me changing a set of shocks on a car. I am sorry that that's all I've done today. But I do hope you've enjoyed the chat. I do hope that you've got a few things to say to me in the comments. I do hope you're enjoying the Orchard Raceway series this year. I have really enjoyed filming it all this year. I do think that going forward, I've got to find a more sustainable way of producing the videos for the Orchard Raceway, because if I'm honest, it just takes too long. So I'm thinking that I will keep going with the bigger videos with everything in it, because it's easier for me to produce that. Yeah, that's probably all I've got to say today. Thank you ever so much for watching this video. I will do another live again. Probably try and do one in a couple of weeks' time, probably on a Sunday afternoon. So if you're ever free around sort of 3-4 o'clock on a Sunday, keep your eye out for the OAG going live. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.